soon. We should be on.
There you go. Solid red. Let's see how we go.
I don't have it shown up on my stuff yet. There it is. There it is.
Yep, I got it too. There we are.
We're on.
We are live. Okay.
Is it live or is it Memorex?
It's, I don't know.
Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah, from a while ago.
Yeah, it's pretty old.
It's pretty old.
Yeah, I am pretty old.
I zoned out in commercials, really. I still do. I don't really pay, they're like, you see the commercial? No, I don't. I'm totally in a different place during commercials. And you don't even really have to watch commercials anymore.
Because you can fast forward through.
Well,
yeah.
Or you can stream it and there aren't even any there. I don't know how that.
I don't know.
But anyway.
Usually I record my shows and then Sue and I are sitting there.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, pause. That's always nice. I need more popcorn.
So if anybody's out there, let us know if you can hear us.
Yep, I've got one eye, but I think it's my own. Oh, there's two. So there's got to be somebody out there. Somebody, can you hear us?
Yeah, let us know if you can hear us. Is anybody out there?
So what do we got announcements-wise?
So we have Reformation Sunday Reformation Sunday. Regina Baker's going to read from our German Bible, which we just got rebound. She's apparently pretty excited, according to Joanne. She's been in the office a couple times to look at it and
check it out. It is really cool, from 1788.
1788.
From one of the founding families, the Albaugh family. And we had been trying to figure out what the history of the Bible was.
Yeah.
They're really, we've asked a couple times, even, the congregation, and nobody's really known. And I think she was excited to find that some of the history of the Bible
is in there. Yeah.
In the Bible.
Yeah.
So
she found a letter in there either from Luther or from one of the princes back then to either party that's written in there too. So apparently that was pretty cool to have in there as well.
And that Reformation Sunday, that's very exciting that we have the German Bible. I always thought that was cool, that we have the German Bible, and that was one of the first translations of the Bible that were for the common folk that
right.
we just had.
Right, and that that's.
It's not pocket size though. It's huge.
It's big. Yeah, it's not something you're going to tote around every day.
Not so much, but an heirloom.
So we have that,
Yep.
and actually Saturday we have trunk or treat.
Oh yes.
Barring any bomb, cyclone.
Trunk or treat is from 5:30 to 7 on Saturday, and there was a misprint, probably my fault, in the weekly email. It's not going to be
On the Fulton.
on the lawn. Originally that had been the plan until we needed to take the trees down and realized how much of a mucky mess that will be. And then with the 3+ inches of rain coming tomorrow, even more not conducive to
Right.
trunk or treating. So we will be in the parish hall parking lot. I'll have sign up. And if we're still 50-50 chance on rain on Saturday, so if we should need to postpone it, we will have it Sunday afternoon. Most of our trunk people, I don't know what you call them.
Junk trunkers.
Trunk truckers, said that they could accommodate a Sunday. So I'm gonna just wait and see, like you said, what the bomb cyclone or whatever we're getting is. I don't know. Isn't that just like our lives the last 2 years? You plan something and you're like, I don't know. Oh,
Well,
change.
it's like Sue will laugh at this. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what one of the weather forecasters said one night, and I was just like, wow, I wish I could go into church and just say, maybe, I don't know.
I don't know. Everybody, that's where we got. That's where we're at. I don't know. You can't plan more than 20 minutes in advance.
So we have that, and then All Saints Sunday on the 7th.
Yep, and there's still time to get the names in.
Yep. yep. Joanne's compiling the list for us.
Tomorrow, please.
Yes, by tomorrow, please, if you're able to. We will get that done, and then Betsy was working on a plan for what they were gonna do with the candles, because they're not gonna put them on the organ.
The new organ, yeah. I think there's going to be a table here with our blessed covering.
Yeah, with the holy linens.
Sacramental sheet, I
The,
think it's what.
no, what is it? I forget what it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
Anyway,
There's people for that. We don't
Yeah.
even know that.
there's people for
There's
that.
people for that. So yeah, that's the 7th.
And then the 14th is Military Appreciation Sunday. So if you're a member of the military, a veteran, or otherwise connected, come on in, and we'd like to recognize you.
And we forgot what's happening on Reformation Sunday.
Oh,
Back to that.
yes. We have 2 new members that are joining us, and
Yay.
they're very excited to do so. So,
We're
yes.
excited to have them.
Yes, thank you, Mike and Jackie.
I was like,
Mikey.
We're calling him Mikey now?
No, I
We're
got it.
just gonna nickname him? We don't even know.
No. Don't watch this.
Don't watch. Edit. It's too bad it's live
Yeah.
for all posterity.
Yeah.
It's still just Sue and us.
Okay.
Nobody wanted to hear about sexism today.
I guess not. You know, and Sue's probably wondering, what's he gonna learn?
I don't know.
But yeah,
I mean, let's see, what else we got? Oh, the Chris Kindle Market is coming up
December 4th.
December 4th, and that will be here before you know it, because I have no idea what happened to October, but it's over.
Yeah.
So if you are able to help out with that, or even just help spread the news about the event, and since you're on Facebook, I assume you have Facebook, there is a Chris Kindle Market Facebook page. Look that up, share it,
Mm-hmm.
all those things, and or contact Marie if you have something to contribute. Or who else do we need to contact if Marie's going away?
Marcia.
Marsha or Marie, we're just gonna throw you out there and,
Yep. I think Sue Hayes is working on it too.
okay.
So there's a couple
So
of
any
people.
those
Yep.
If you are interested in helping out.
Or just say, hey, I need help with the Chris Kindle. Anybody? And someone will help you.
Someone will be attracted to you.
Yes.
I don't know.
And blood drive on the 19th, right? 19th? Yes.
November 19th.
Yep.
Um,
So they are in a desperate need for blood, so if you're able to do so, come on down.
Yeah, and they've even changed some of the guidelines so that you can donate more often.
But not for me, it's kind of weird.
Not for you. Well, you did a double red.
Yeah, but it's 3 months. I think it's 156 days, which is crazy.
Yeah, well,
I didn't remember it being that far apart last year.
I think you can donate plasma even
I tried.
I don't really know. They contacted me about plasma donation, and it, takes a little bit longer, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I'm not a really good donor.
But you haven't passed out
I
recently.
haven't passed out recently, but I was like, I'm not quite ready to get on that boat. He's like, all right, well, we'll just take you off this call list. I appreciate that. Thanks. But they are in need, and I think I saw it's like a $10 gift card to Amazon this
I
month,
think so, yeah.
in November
Yeah.
for donating. So get some Christmas shopping done and save some lives.
Yep. And kind of jumping way forward, Christmas Eve is worship service will be at 7 o'clock on the 24th.
One service.
One service.
So it'll have communion at that service.
Yep.
Yep. Which is what we did last year, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you were around last year, it's similar to that. It was good.
Good times were had by all. All right.
I'm trying to share this so we can get some more people on here.
And also, I did share on our Facebook page today a bunch of phone numbers for helplines, for suicide awareness, for bullying, a whole bunch of stuff. So if there comes a time that you are struggling or you know someone who is struggling, you could share those numbers with them, or be the friend and listen, or point them in the direction of whoever they might feel comfortable chatting with.
So I would challenge you to look at that post today and click on the infographic, click on the picture, and save it to your phone so that you don't have to go scrolling back through when you need it. It was suggested to us in our training at the beginning of the month to save that as a contact number, suicide prevention and those helplines in your phone, so that, you know, if you are ever in that situation,
You don't have to.
you're not fumbling through. But at the very least, I challenge you to save the picture on your phone so that you have it
Yep.
available to you.
Yep.
Yep.
And don't be afraid, because there's always hope, and we would like to be there if you need help. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah. It can be scary to ask.
Mm-hmm. So what
You
do
know
we?
what else is scary?
Yes,
This social statement.
it was challenging
It's
for sure.
intimidating. The length of it is
Yes,
intimidating.
yes,
Um,
and this is kind of what we thought human sexuality was going to be.
Yeah, so this statement is specifically called Faith, Sexism, and Justice, a Call to Action. And it was approved by the National Church in 2019.
So Diane said her volume is low.
Oh. Am I not talking into the mic? I can hear myself.
No, I think it was for everybody, so I
Oh.
turned the volume up a little bit.
Okay. How's that, everybody?
Let us know, Diane.
Let us know, let us know. So yeah, it's 84 pages long. When we said 2 weeks ago that this is what we were gonna hop into this one next,
I think,
and then we looked at it and was like, it's 84
Yikes.
pages long. And they don't have a study guide out for it yet
No.
because it's still so new. But luckily, if you just open the document, there is, the first 11 pages, not so intimidating.
no,
It's called the short statement, and it's really a summary of all the points in the statement, which are like 40 points or something like that.
yeah, something like that.
And it's just brief paragraphs for each point. Then the longer statement is after that,
Which goes in depth.
which goes in depth. In case you read like the first paragraph, we, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, believe God's intention revealed through Scripture is that all people live life abundantly and flourish. If you disagree with that, you can flip to section 1.
And
the
read
long
why it
statement
says that,
and read
yeah.
why it says that. Or if you just need, to expand that.
Right.
So-
I don't know what Diane said.
Don't be, we've got breaking news. Well, isn't he supposed to be leaving the country by? Is that the breaking news?
No, I'm
Isn't
just,
he terrible? Anyway, thanks for letting us know what's going on in the world. We don't know what's going on out there.
sounds
right now.
better. That's what she says.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Glad Diane's back on board.
So, there's 5 sections, 40 subsections, and they're on the short statement. You shared the user guide in the email yesterday, is that?
User guides in the email too, yes.
So we've shared, there was a brief video that we posted earlier in the week on Facebook, and that was just going over some terms, just kind of, to me, you thought it was, silly or?
Corny.
Corny, that was the word he used. He thought it was corny. I feel like it was just kind of getting everyone comfortable with terminology and things.
And maybe that's the way to do it, but it
To him,
wasn't,
it was corny, so.
wasn't what
let us
I
know
was
what you
looking
thought.
for.
I don't know. The user guide that came out with the email yesterday was put out prior to the statement to help define terms. Some terminology that isn't used or hasn't been used in the past.
Right, and
You don't know.
and I think even after reading some of it, I'm still like,
I still gotta delve in. And it has some links in there that you're like, I don't know what intersex is. I
Right.
have to click through here and find out. and there's also a genderbread man.
Genderbread.
Genderbread person. I don't know. It's got some interesting infographics. Social statements don't have stories and statistics because they want it to be relevant over a long period of time, but that user guide had statistics. It had stories from the last 2 years. So if you need further expansion. Oh, and now you can't hear me. Am I not talking in my microphone?
I think I got a right mic on, hopefully. It's
I am
the left,
plugged in.
your left mic, right?
I'm left mic.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yep, that's what I got on now, so.
Okay.
I had you on right mic, sorry.
Well, I mean, he's got one job. No, I'm just kidding. He's got a couple jobs.
I can't get it right
I
no
don't
matter
know,
what.
right?
So,
Okay.
hopefully you can hear a little better now.
Yeah, she said better. Okay. Well, I hope you heard any or part of some of what I said already. We're just going to keep going.
Belinda's in charge today.
Well, okay.
Why is that?
Well, did you know that most of the people in the pews in ELCA churches are female or identify as female, but there's only 20% of the pastors are female?
Yep.
Interesting. That was a statistic out of the user guide.
Did you find that statistic troubling?
I have definitely seen a shift in clergy, I guess, in the 20 years that I've been here. And I think it's a little more, the pushback when I say that I'm doing youth ministry has lessened in that time. But I would say for the first 10 years, anybody who stopped by wanted to talk to my husband or my father. I'm like, well, I'm the one that works for the church. Do you want to talk to me? Oh, well, is the pastor around? Can I just talk to him? He's not in right now. You can come back another time. But and even 2 years ago, two or 3 years ago, when we had an interim female pastor, I was stunned still by some of the response
to her
just being a female pastor. And I was like, I thought we were really quite beyond that. But it was kind of eye-opening that's not totally true in all of the world, even here in our little microcosm of St. Paul's.
As I think back on my seminary days, I would say the majority of students was female.
Yeah, when I went to a discernment weekend, most of the participants in that were also female.
Right.
Which again, I think is
good.
And moving in the right direction. Whether or not they'll find the support that they need from congregations, that'll be yet to be seen.
Sure. Right.
That's
that
kind
note,
of what this statement is saying, that we need to, that we're improving. I actually think I underlined that part at some point. It was like, we're improving, but there's still more progress.
You'll be able to get a taste of that because Pastor Stacy Brady will be here on the 12th of December to preach.
Because we're kicking him out. No.
Kicking me out.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah. So, what did you think about the statement? How did you feel about it? Okay, so I don't know if we need to go point by point, but it was basically saying we're created equally in the image of God, and God doesn't necessarily mean male or female. I think that was the first thing that really stood out to me.
That was the thing that I took out of the video that I liked, was that God is neither male nor female, but God is this infinite power who envelops everything. And it's correct to be able to assign different images because I got to think of the term that was used. Expanding? No, it's not. you had inclusiveness and then
expansion language.
expansion language.
Yeah.
Right. Expansion language, so that we come to appreciate that God is infinite in the world and God is in everything, and God should be seen in everything. You know, a rock or a mothering hen, or you know, whatever image there is.
I like a lot of those images from Psalms, you know, stronghold, refuge,
Right.
you know, mighty fortress, kind of, you know, to me, that's
Now, but
helpful.
But
I also like some, you know, some of the traits that are garnered from mothering or fathering.
because I was just
God.
going to say that, you know, the mighty fortress, you know, that stuff, it sounds so manly to me.
I guess, but, you know, when we're fighting the forces of darkness and evil in the world, I'm going to need a wall. I'm not really assigning a gender to my wall.
And you know,
or my armor of, you know, my spiritual armor.
Yeah.
But again, that is part of what it also says in like section 25 or 26, that some of the translations have become patriarchal.
Right, and that's what they're trying to say, that we need to kind of start smoothing the way away from. Not that there's anything wrong with a father figure or mother figure, but that we become more expansive
And inclusive, right?
And inclusive, yeah,
Right.
with the terms.
Because they're fluid.
I really like this movie, and I can't remember the name of it now, but in the movie God is portrayed as three different persons.
The Shack.
The Shack, right.
Oh my gosh, I love that movie.
So, really that movie, you know, some people have some theological issues with it, which, okay, it's a movie, so yes, there are going to be that. But I found it very powerful because, you know, towards the end of the movie, where the main character goes and finds his daughter who had been killed, the male figure had been sent. Normally, the woman, the female figure, was representing God mostly throughout the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And then at this other portion of the movie, you know, he complains, "Why weren't you with me?" And God says, "I was. At this point, I just felt you needed this to be with you through that time." And that's kind of resonated with me a lot.
Yeah. I love that movie. I have several copies of the book I tend to just hand out to people. I always tell people that, like, the first couple pages were really tough for me to get through, and then I couldn't put it down after that.
So I've never read the book. How does...
well, it's really good.
I might have to borrow a copy.
You're going to have to borrow a copy. I would like to point out that Diane said parenting works for her. So that's kind of like a general term that encompasses mother and fathering, that doesn't have maybe a negative connotation for someone who had a rough childhood. Mm-hmm. Parenting, obviously, but it keeps it general, so it doesn't, you know, in case there are same gender households that you grew up with and you had two fathers or two mothers and you don't know. So I like parenting. That's a good it's another inclusive expansion, and that's, I think, a lot of the point of this is to start discussion on, or realization that you're speaking that way, in using he or she pronouns, in reference to God, and how that may prohibit someone from coming into relationship with God.
Right. Just because of whatever may have happened, in their life.
Right.
Or how they're experiencing their own identity and trying to, how does that fit, not necessarily fit my box, but fit what my perspective is on moving forward. Yeah. And you know, that's been something for me that was very challenging during seminary because, I mean, I grew up, God the Father. That's it, right?
The Father art in heaven. That's what that's what you say.
Right?
So yeah, it's hard to change, and not change, but broaden your perspective, your horizons, your understanding. And I think that's what I like the most about these social statements is, you know, you go in with a preconceived notion of, oh, we're going to talk about sexism. It's just, you know, how we can have more equality, equity between
I like
genders.
That whole analogy, you know, with that picture of
that was in the user
equality
guide.
and equity was, you know, something, you know, I was like, oh, wow, that.
He'd never seen that picture before. So if you don't know what that picture is, it's 3 people. Yeah, it's in the user guide. But I'm sure if you're on Facebook in the last 2 years, you might have seen it. But it's a picture of 3 people behind a fence and boxes. And so equality is everybody gets a box, but still some people can't see over the fence. Equity is the tallest guy can already see over the fence, doesn't need a box. The medium-sized guy needs one box, and the shorter person needs, I'm calling him a guy, but the shorter person has the 2 boxes so they can see over the fence. But the part I liked the most was, you know, we need to have equity here so that everybody can get to see over the fence, but it was taking down the fence.
Yeah, so that the fence isn't there.
So that the fence, those barriers
there's no barrier.
Aren't there.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
So I liked that. I liked that whole part there.
Right.
Oh, hey, Russ is watching us from the road. He's not here today.
In case you didn't notice.
It's just 2 of the Stooges today. Tackling sexism, which is
Russ is like,
tough.
oh, I missed that one.
Right. So I don't know what you just flipped to, but
I'm still I'm on page 4.
Okay.
And it's kind of what we started to talk about patriarchy and that system. I'm very challenged with the whole privilege thing.
It's tough.
It's very difficult to kind of, to wrap my head around, especially when some people are like using it like a cudgel and just trying to, well, because you're this.
They're using it as a weapon.
That's right.
Which is exactly what they're
trying
to change.
Get away, right. And I think that's the difficult part of this is, okay, I understand that, but that's not everybody doesn't subscribe to that mentality, you know.
But I feel like it, you know, while it's tough to talk about patriarchy and privilege, and you know, I feel the statement used it in a way that wasn't bashing
and I'm not saying
or
it
abusive,
was, right.
But it did give you that opportunity to look and say, you know, like I think the user guide brought up minority, female,
pastors.
Janitorial overnight
right.
Employees, and you know, the incidents of sexual abuse for those. And I was like, I had never even really considered, you know, a nighttime. I mean, I guess you do kind of, you know, as a female, you're like, when you're looking in the job market, you got to be pretty, you know, for your own safety, you take into those things into consideration.
Right.
When you're looking for employment. And I don't know that everybody has those things. You know, as a person, I used to deliver newspapers. I delivered newspapers when I was younger, for all of those out there who recall that part. But I also did it, you know, in my early 20s, and found, when I was younger, I did it in the afternoon. Early 20s, I did it at the crack of dawn in not some great neighborhoods. And I was like, this is the stupidest thing I could ever be doing. You know, I'm like walking this court and delivering papers. And there's a guy hiding in the bushes, and he's telling me to be quiet while there's a cop car on the other court looking for said person. And I was like,
Hey.
I am not doing this anymore. This was the dumbest choice. And that was really for anyone, but
Yeah.
for me as a female, he was a much bigger person than I was. And I felt my vulnerability
Right.
quite a bit at that moment.
Yeah. So some of the things that they identified in this, and I know even in my past job, uniforms were tailored for men.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't, same thing with like ballistic vests and stuff like that. They didn't consider the anatomy of a woman.
Yeah, it brought up seatbelts. I had never
Right,
thought about
seatbelts.
seatbelts being sexist, but, to know that they hadn't been tested on, female crash dummies,
Pregnant female.
pregnant female crash dummies, or even to
Or those of
consider,
us with a little extra.
well, to consider, the anatomy of the female. I don't know,
Right. And
I
I
was
don't
like,
know how that
oh,
would happen, really,
yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it.
unless you just don't use the
It's-
lap belt.
I don't know. I don't know, but it was, it was interesting to think, I think that the inventors of the seatbelt were out to cause damage to female passengers? No, but they just didn't have the perception that there might need to be different considerations.
Right.
It's just interesting. So you're flipping pages again. I'm still. Oh no, you're in the user guide.
I'm in the user guide looking for examples, and the one thing, and I've heard this before. It's a riddle. What does patriarchy look like? And it says a father and son are in a horrible car crash that kills the dad. The son is rushed to the hospital. Just as he's about to go under the knife, the surgeon says, "I can't operate. That boy is my son." How is that possible?
Read the statistics. Read the rest of it, because they asked that question to a large number of university students somewhere.
Boston University,
Boston
only
University.
14% of college students came up with the correct answer, even though 2/3 of them were women.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were just thinking of a study group of 100 people and 2/3 of them are female.
Yeah, that's 66 people.
66 people, but only 14%. So 14 people got that right.
Right.
It's just, and the answer is obvious.
Yeah.
Once you hear the answer, you're like, oh, the surgeon is the mother. But your brain is kind of,
You're like focused on that.
Right.
Yeah. And this is the seatbelt one. It says seatbelts in cars are designed with male form in mind. In car accidents, women who are driving and wear a seatbelt have a 47% higher chance of experiencing serious injury and 71% higher chance of suffering moderate injury than male drivers. And then for the first 30 years of testing, crash test dummies were all based on the average male form.
Yeah. And I mean, physically, women are usually smaller. I remember a previous job, there was delivery issue, and the girl had to sit on 2 phone books to see over the dash and reach that it was obviously the car was not set up for someone of her stature.
Right.
And Delaney and I joke about that all the time. I don't know how short people grocery shop, but that's it's just interesting how things are set up, not intentionally, I don't think,
I was appalled
be restricted,
by 1,
but
2, 3, 4. The fourth one in that, what does patriarchy look like in health? I was appalled. I was like,
yeah, you want to read that one? You want me to read that one?
Yeah, why don't you?
I don't have it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which one this is, because I was like, holy crap. I looked up all right, so this is in the user guide again, that is where we're finding the stories and the statistics to help you understand the problems. So it continues to be practice in some teaching hospitals to have medical students practice performing penetrative pelvic exams on women without their knowledge or consent after they've been anesthetized for non-pelvic related procedures. So what that's saying is you're knocked out in a teaching hospital and they're like, you know what, let's practice doing a pelvic exam.
Yeah.
What the heck? I was like, I was legit in my mind going,
I don't want to do anesthesia ever again.
You know, when I had that lithotripsy, did I wake up and feel like there was anything else going on? And then forced sterilization was the next example, which I have heard of, particularly in the American Indian population.
It is, a Native American population. And, you know, if you've ever watched Yellowstone, that's
I haven't,
one of the issues in the family was the daughter got pregnant by somebody, and then the brother was helping her out and trying to keep it secret from the town and the family, so they went somewhere else, and that was the result. And I'm just like, how in the heck can you do that? I just, you know, some of this stuff is just,
you're like, is this a horror show? And then you're like, crap, this is real life.
This really happens.
This really happens, and it's appalling. And you know what? The other example I thought was insanity was that. So there's something called intersectionality.
Intersectionality.
So, like, you know, you have compounding, you know, sexism, racism. What?
That's the I in LGBTQIA.
Is not, no, that's intersex.
Right.
Intersectionality is where, like, you have racism and sexism, or, you know, some other kind of prejudice all piling up. But it was the African American woman with a PhD had more of a chance of premature birth than a high school dropout Caucasian woman because of the and studies believe it to be from the added stress of racism. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just all not good.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was in there somewhere. It might have been in one of the healthcare ones, or in, I don't know. I feel like that's the main takeaway from this social statement to me is just not
do the right thing.
Well, just to open up your, again, perspective to say there's so much we need to work on, and my, you know, my changing my usage of words may not seem like a big deal, but, you know, instead of calling the mailman, you know, the postal carrier, you know, right. Or the stewardess as a flight attendant, or, you know, just giving that more of a neutral terminology,
right, is
less oppressive, and you don't know where that is going to...
And you don't know who that's going to impact if they hear it.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
If someone... And I've tried to do it intentionally in church, you know, in my sermons, and some of the prayers that I do is trying to use that inclusive language so that we're expanding our horizons in understanding how we are in society, how we are in God's creation, and how God wants us to live.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I starred number 14. The ELCA celebrates humans are relational beings and that we live in social systems. Positive, equitable social systems can lead to joy and gladness. However, social systems can also have negative consequences. And that kind of struck me because I was like, all right, so what are we saying
Say that
here.
again? What
So
page were you on?
5, number 14, the ELCA celebrates humans as relational beings. So social systems, you want them to be positive and supportive, but they can be the opposite of that as well. And I didn't really think about it that way, that they can also have negative consequences if they are, on the flip side, perhaps stirring up the hate, as we could say, or shutting down the possibilities of
You see
inclusion.
it all the time with, hate groups and not just hate groups, but groups that
Just
are
social
very
systems where you're like,
adamant
oh.
in their situation, and it's really not. It really doesn't include everybody. The voice is not there for each person to participate in that and be heard.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge.
Yeah. And I also underlined in number 15, patriarchy and sexism reflect a lack of trust in God and result in harm and broken relationships. And I was like, that's an interesting way to frame that patriarchy and sexism reflect a lack of trust in God.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was just an interesting, I don't really have anything to say other than I was like, that's
right.
it's considered sin, yes, but the sin being lacking trust in God is interesting.
And that's truly what sin is.
Yeah.
So anything that distances
Time to go.
distances us from God is what is really sin.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is that we're doing. If it takes us away from God, that's sin.
Yeah. Do we want to delve into section 3? I just realized it's 20 of 1. So we're getting a little long. So I don't know if we want to
hold off on that till next week.
Do we want to do, because again, I think it's a lot of information to take in, and there are a lot of resources. Again, the user guide doesn't really talk much about the social statement itself, but it does give you a great perspective of the terms that they use,
the terms and how things
situations
bear out in different things, like privilege and things, and how they apply to pay gaps, to school funding. To
as a woman, that's not really surprising to me.
It's troubling to me.
It is troubling, but it's not surprising to me.
For me, I'm always of the ilk that if you do the job and you get paid for what you're doing.
And I think that it's more that the starting pay is probably the same. It's that potential increment
for
and
advancement.
And I have a hard time, I don't think there should be. I don't know. I have a hard time with a lot of things, but in particular, the agility test in the military has a different level for men and women. Yep. Which, as a woman, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have to run that fast or whatever. But as a mother of a soldier, I want whoever is beside my kid.
You want Nancy to be able to do the same as Joe.
Haul my son's butt back out, as much as he's able to haul her butt back out, whatever. So I have a hard time with let's make it. I don't know, because it goes both ways for me. I would want it actually, and I do believe the military testing is going to more of a baseline with. They're not like, how many push-ups can you do? It's more like, can you drag dead weight for a certain length of time, which I think is helpful. But it's a tough topic. It's a tough topic, and
but I also
still good.
I look at where I was kind of going to go before was just because you are who you are shouldn't mean you get what you get. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're on any level, whether you're white, black, purple, green, blue, male, female, discerning, whatever. if this is the requirement, then everybody has to do it.
Right.
And if this is the pay, then everybody gets it. If they can do
Whatever that level
whatever
is.
that level is.
Yeah.
There should be no, well,
Yeah.
you
See,
know.
and that's the equality, but you're like, is that equitable? That's when you get like into that tough thing, like
Yeah.
how far behind, how can we, because it hasn't been that way.
Right.
How do we get it to that level and keep it
Keep
that
it
way?
there. Right.
Yeah. Because, there's sin.
Right. Sin.
Sin. We just blame it on sin.
It's all sin.
The fallen world.
It's that darn woman in the garden.
Oh, see, now we're going to bring it up that it's all Eve's fault. And that's where we're going to end today, folks.
All right. Well, have a good
Thanks
week.
for joining us. We're going to tackle this some more. We're going to make Russ participate.
We will see you Sunday.
See you later.